Hi there. It's August 25th and time for Proverbs 25. Over there. Now we finished our 30 wise sayings we're supposed to memorize and keep on the tip of our lips whenever we need them. And that's the end of 24 was the end of Solomon's actual writings. And they were still written by other people about Solomon. So, these are also Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah copied. Okay? Students, probably. Here we go. And a lot of these we've heard before, okay, in Solomon's actual writings. I'm not sure if there's anything new under here or not. It is said that Solomon wrote over 3,000 proverbs, and I don't think we have them all. So. It is the glory of God to conceal things, but the glory of kings to search things out. Not sure what that means, but as the heavens for height and the earth for depth, so the mind of kings is unsearchable. We don't have kings anymore. I mean, there's a few countries that still have kings, and they're all powerful. And, you have to keep them in a good mood, or they can do very evil things. Right? 4. Take the dross from the silver, and the smith has material for a vessel. Now, it says this different in other versions, but similar. Yeah. When you heat up melt silver, all the impurities float to the top, and you can scrape them off with a ladle and throw them away. Then you're left with pure silver. And then the smith has pure silver that he can make vessels or jewelry, or other ones say jewelry or finery. Right. 5. Take away the wicked from the presence of the king, and his throne will be established in righteousness. Yeah, if you can do that. A lot of wicked people around leaders and stuff now, isn't there? 6. Don't put yourself forward in the king's presence or stand in the place of the great. For it is better to be told, come up here, than to be put lower in the presence of the prince. Now that's a wise saying, okay? If you go someplace, don't automatically run up to the front and sit at the front table, right? Once everybody gets there and and someone says, I'm sorry, your seat's back there, you have to get up and walk to the back of the room in the presence of everybody and get embarrassed, right? It's better to sit in the back. And then when people arrive and somebody comes, oh, there you are. Your table's up front with us, and getting walked to the front table in front of everybody, right? Start in the back. Right? What your eyes have seen, do not hastily bring into court, for what will you do in the end when your neighbor puts you to shame? Right? If you instantly see something and don't get the rest of the story, you could be embarrassed, right? Argue your case with your neighbor himself, and do not disclose another secret, lest he who hears you bring shame upon you, and your ill repute have no end, give you a bad reputation, right? Right? If you try and sue somebody or go after somebody or call the cops, and it turns out that he wasn't doing anything wrong, and you only saw part of the story, right? Without going to him personally, say, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's just, oh, I have this old rug that the dog got very sick on, and I rolled it up and put it in a bag, and I'm just dragging it out to the curb to be thrown away. And you look, oh, he's killed somebody. He's dragging a body out. And you could be embarrassed by that. Thing I came up with right off the top of my head, okay? And you'll get a bad reputation. Okay, 11. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in a setting of silver. Usually it's best to say nothing, but the right word at the right time is a beautiful thing. 12, like a gold ring or an ornament of gold, is a wise reprover to a listening ear. Okay, well, this is kind of confusing in here. Now I have over here my parallel Bible. It has 4 versions in it, and I put a camera in it yesterday so we can look at verse 12. Okay, in these, and you can see it. There's a New Living, New International, New King James, and the King James Version. Right? So if we go down to verse 12 in the New Living Translation, it says, valid criticism is treasured by the one who heeds it as jewelry made from the finest gold. Completely different, right? The New International says, like an earring of gold or an ornament of fine gold is a wise man's rebuke to a listening ear. It says the same thing in here. Here in the King James, an earring of gold or an ornament of fine gold for a wise reprover upon a obedient ear. So there's that, and we can reference that if we want to look at 4 other versions and kind of put them together and get a general idea of what it says. Right, like a good jewelry or a nice thing, ornament, is somebody who listens to a wise person, wise person's rebuke or advice or criticism. Okay? Good stuff. 13, like the coldest snow in the time of harvest, is a faithful messenger to those who send him. He refreshes the spirit of his masters. Right. The harvest is in like August, hottest part of the year. Something cool and refreshing would be nice, right? A faithful messenger. 14, like clouds and wind without rain, is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. Lots of that going around. Huh? Boasts of a gift he does not give. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. You know, lots of hope and no actual. Like politicians, huh? Keeping their political promises. Once they're in office, all that stuff goes away. They're boasting of gifts that they very rarely give. 15, with patience a ruler may be persuaded, and a soft tongue will break a bone. Got that? Soft tongue. I always like that. A soft tongue will break a bone. Now, when my kids weren't listening to me, and I was getting kind of testy and angry because they weren't listening, I found out that the quieter I talk, the more serious they knew I was, and the more they listened. You can yell and scream at them, but if you get real close and you whisper, and you're like, if you don't put that away, I'm going to throw it away. I'll give you 5 seconds. And whispering, a soft tongue, because they will lean in to hear what you're saying. And people hear you better when you speak softly, right? One of our presidents from the last century said, speak softly and carry a big stick. Yeah, a soft tongue will break a bone. 16, if you have honey, eat only enough for you, lest you be sated with it and vomit it out. Don't be a glutton, okay? Don't be a glutton. It's easy. 17, let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, lest he become weary of you and hate you. Right. Don't wear out your welcome, okay? Stay home. You know, occasional hi. And when you need something, I'll be there for you. And if you're always hanging around, he's going to hate you. Okay? People wear out their welcome a lot. 18, a man who bears false witness against his neighbor is like a war club or a sword or a sharp arrow. Yeah, lying about your neighbors? Can't imagine why somebody would do that, but people do. 19, trust in a faithless man in time of trouble is like a bad tooth or a foot that slips. Faithless people. You trust in faithless people in a time of trouble. Mm-hmm. You know, you ask yourself, if your country goes to war, who do you want at the helm? Do you want a faithless person that's never done anything, or do you want somebody there that's tried and true and proven, right, and commands respect? 20, he who sings songs to a heavy heart is like one who takes off a garment on a cold day and like vinegar on a wound. Right? Is somebody sad and, they lost a loved one or something terrible has happened? You don't want to try and make them laugh. Ha ha, look, sing songs and be funny. Okay? That's a terrible thing to do. Best times with things like that is just to sit and be quiet, right? Listen. Okay, 21. Jesus said this, right? He got it from here, you think? If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap coals of fire on his head, and the Lord will reward you. Right? I'm saying that. Love your enemies. 23. The north wind brings forth rain, and a backbiting tongue brings forth angry looks, and more. Backbiting tongue. You say stuff behind other people's backs that you wouldn't say to their face. Okay? And one thing that's gossip, which is absolutely detestable. One of the main things that are detestable to the Lord is gossip. Right? And a lot of time you get more than just an angry look. Right? So we highlight that? Yeah, let's highlight that. It is better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a contentious woman. Okay, now they copied this from Solomon, right? Because we've heard Solomon say it over and over again, like in every third chapter he talks about this. Because Solomon had 700 wives, okay? You couldn't keep 700 wives happy no matter how hard you tried, okay? We were meant to have one wife and become one with that other person. But Solomon's downfall was other countries trying to please him, kept giving him princesses, and here's a new wife for you, until he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. So he had 1,000 women to try and keep satisfied. You can't do that. You can't do that. Okay? And I bet a lot of time he was looking for a quiet corner where none of these wives were. Stick with one. 25, like cold water to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far country. Maybe we could sure use that now, huh? There's a lot of bad news coming out of the far countries now. 26, like a muddied spring or a polluted fountain is a righteous man who gives way before the wicked. Right. A righteous man who gives way before the wicked. Let's go ahead. Let's say over here. And 26. If the godly compromise with the wicked, it's like polluting a fountain or muddying a spring. Right? The others say the same thing as this here. Yeah. The godly give way before the wicked. It's like polluting the water. That's weak, okay? If your faith is weak, you will do that. 27, it's not good to eat much honey, so be sparing of complimentary words. Okay? Too much of a good thing. Searching out their glory is glory. Don't shower somebody with too many compliments, okay? It'll make them sick, just like eating too much candy will give you a bellyache, right? A few things is good, but not on and on and on and on and rolling on about, it looks like hero worship, and it's kind of sickening, right? Be sparing of complimentary words. Right? 28, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Right? Self-control is important. It means listening to the Holy Spirit, right? Knowing what God said in certain situations. So that's Proverbs 25. We can go over our highlights in here. I highlight different things each month. So we highlighted 4, take away the dross from silver, and the smith has material for a vessel. Now I come from a foundry background. I have some experience in that. And the stuff that flows to the top, they call it slag. Okay, you take it off and throw it away. Okay, all the impurities, anything that's not silver or gold or even iron. Okay, you take it off and throw it away, so you're left with the pure metal. And you got to do that. God does that with hearts. Okay, and it can be painful. Okay, having your heart melted into a liquid so he can take all the bad stuff off and make you a new, clean heart. Created me a clean heart. He does that. And somebody called it, and it's called in the Bible, the refiner's fire. Okay, that's the song. You can look that up. It's an old Christian chorus song. Okay? We highlighted 6 and 7. Don't put yourself forward in the king's presence or stand in the place of the great. And that's just the king. Don't stand in the place of the great. Don't automatically go up to the front if you're called for a banquet or a meeting. Don't automatically assume that you're the most important and you're going to sit in the front. Okay? It's better to sit in the back and be told your place is up here with us than to be sitting up there and I'm sorry, you're in somebody else's seat. You need to go to the back. Okay? That's embarrassing. It's just basically saying be humble. Always be humble. Okay? One of the most important attributes in all of Proverbs is being humble, which involves keeping your mouth shut, right? Not bragging, not being haughty or arrogant. Okay? They call those scoffers. Okay? So be humble. Stay in the back till you're called up front. It's better to be honored that way. And we highlighted 12 and looked that up. Like a gold ring or an ornament of gold is a wise reprover to a listening ear. Right? You get a wise person that wants to critique you or rebuke you or teach you something. If you're willing and able and want to listen to that and take that to heart, that's like getting new jewelry, right? Sparkling diamond to look at. Listen to smart people, especially if they want to tell you something, right? Because a smart, humble, wise person will not try and tell you something unless he thinks you really need to know it, okay? Because wise people in here, they don't go around boasting and getting into other people's business. They're humble. So if a wise person wants to tell you something, wants to critique you, criticize, rebuke, teach, listen to it, okay? And it'll be like getting new jewelry, right? And that's something people can see. Oh, look, he's got a beautiful ring. And it shows, okay? Okay. I can't. It's 14. I just think about politicians when the classic stereotype of a politician, right? Like clouds and wind without rain is a man who boasts of a gift he does not give. Right? if elected, I promise to do this and do that. And then they don't. Right there in Proverbs. 15, very important. With patience, a ruler may be persuaded, and a soft tongue will break a bone. You really want people to listen? Talk softly. Whisper. If you whisper, they're going to lean in to see what you have to say and pay attention because you're whispering. Okay? Soft tongue. It works really good on your kids. You should try it. If you have young children and they won't listen to you, you get very quiet and you almost to a whisper. Okay? And it scares them. Okay? A soft tongue will break a bone. Good stuff. 17, let your foot seldom be in your neighbor's house, lest he become weary of you and hate you. Just good advice, okay? Don't be hanging out at your neighbors all the time. You're not Fred and Barney, okay? Okay? Even in the Flintstones, Fred seldomly went over to Barney's house, okay? And vice versa. Oh, yeah. Just good advice. Okay, 21 or 22. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap coals of fire on his head, and the Lord will reward you. All right. Have you ever done something nice for an enemy, somebody that hates you? Okay. They can't refute that. Okay. And 23. The north wind brings forth rain. The north wind brings forth rain, and a backbiting tongue, angry looks. Gossip, backbiting, talking behind people's backs is going to get you in trouble, okay? Don't say anything behind somebody's back. Just don't talk about other people, okay? Unless you're going to honor them, okay? Don't say anything behind somebody's back that you wouldn't say to their face. Okay? So, there you go. That's Proverbs 25 for August 25th. Through these, there's only 5 or 6 left, and then we'll be finished. But, yeah. Stay tuned later today. We are in the book of Lamentations, and I find it to be very interesting when you do research and actually know that he wasn't just belly aching. Jeremiah was actually walking through the empty city of Jerusalem that had been destroyed. All the people were gone. All the people left because Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon, had destroyed the city and taken over it, won the battle, killed everyone, and the ones he didn't kill, he took away with them as slaves. And that's what Lamentations is about. It's very interesting. So stay tuned later for that. Give us a like if you think about it. But later on, we'll do it. We'll keep going. This isn't over. See you later.